Hey team, this is Nathan from RunDreamAchieve.com. Hope you're all doing well. Today's topic I want to go over something that I've always been interested in, and that is why are Kenyans so good at running? And I often get asked this, people around the world always ask the same question. Why are the Kenyans so good at it? It's not just the Kenyans that are good at running, okay? And I've known and trained and lived with Kenyans. They bleed red just like us, and they put their pants on one leg at a time just like everybody else. It's not about being a Kenyan. If you're not a Kenyan, you're not going to be able to run as fast because there's Americans that run great times. There's Ethiopians, there's Canadians, there's Swedish. I mean, every nationality around the world can run fast. But what I've noticed about the Kenyan athletes is they are hungry for success. And as I talk about in other videos, it's absolutely essential that if you don't have determination, if you don't have grit, if you don't have the mindset to succeed in this sport, you're never going to be as great of an athlete as you can if you're not all in, if you're not immersed in what you're doing. I don't care if it's running or if it's business or if it's any other aspect of your life. If something that you're interested in, you're going to be great at it if you dive into it with enough enthusiasm and that work ethic that we all have in us. Everybody has something that they're excited about. That's something that gets them up in the morning, that, drives them to do what it is that they do. If you look at public speakers, why are they so good? A lot of public speakers I've known over the years tell me that they're introverted. They get nervous before their speeches. And I can relate. I'm a very introverted individual, but I've had to get up and give speeches, and then I hear from other people, man, that was a great speech, and why do you say you're introvert? You have to get out of your comfort zone, and you have to do things enough times, and if you do it enough time, obviously you're going to get better and you're going to become stronger at what you do. The Kenyans are good at running because they obviously love the sport. They do it on a consistent basis. They train morning and afternoon. Physiologically, obviously, their bodies are suited. A lot of Kenyans that I've known over the years are very short. They're very light. That obviously helps in the marathon distance and in running in general. It doesn't matter if you're a 5K athlete, middle to long distance runner. Being lightweight, having a smaller frame does help. But I've known world-class marathoners, world-class milers that were much heavier. Even at my peak, I'm 5'11", I was about 150 pounds at my race weight, and I was a bigger athlete compared to other runners. And I've known other athletes even bigger than I was. Dan Brown of the U.S. He was a marathoner. He was a member of the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program and a teammate of mine, two-time Olympian. Dan was bigger than I was. He was probably about 160 pounds. I don't know his exact weight, but he's about 5'10", 160 pounds, maybe 155 pounds, around that range. And he could run much, much faster than a lot of the Kenyan athletes that were much, much less, much smaller and lighter. So it's not just about body type that the Kenyans are good at what they do. It's not just that, but it is they have an extreme desire to succeed. And you see a lot of athletes, yesterday, I think it was just yesterday, Grant Fisher of the U.S. ran an American record of 26 minutes and 33 seconds for 10,000 meters on the track. He broke Galen Rupp's 26:44. He's American. It's not just obviously these athletes that are doing great, they have been training for so many years. And this is something else that, go back and watch that video I made on event versus process. We always see the end result. Why are the Kenyans so good? Is a question all the time I get. Why are Kenyans so good at running? They're so good at running because they have done something consistently for so many years that after all of that hard work, they start getting the results that they're wanting, but the world sees it. It's the process. It's that getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get out with their groups and do training on dirt roads, and with not the luxuries that people here in the United States of America and probably in your country don't necessarily have. I mean, these athletes, a lot of these athletes are very poor. Some of them are, you know, well off as well. But, you know, you look at Eliud Kipchoge. I mean, he's the world record holder for the marathon, but he still trains and lives as though he's a poor man. You know, if you watch a lot of his documentaries, he's out training with his groups, but, you know, very modest lifestyle. And again, it goes back to being zeroed in on what it is that you want. So if you want to be great like the Kenyans, you have to put in the work and be as diligent and be as fired up and have that grit and determination and the consistency that a world-class athlete has. And again, going back to what I've discussed in other videos, you know, we have 3 choices in this life. We can be good, we can be average, we can be good, or we can be great. And all 3 take work, you know, but again, being normal and being average doesn't take as much, you know, desire and work as opposed to being great. Being great means you have to, whatever amount of athletic, you know, expertise you have, or you know, ability that you have, you may have minimal amounts of talent, but you can always make that up if you have enough drive and work ethic. Those 2 traits, and you know, to be great, you have to utilize all of the capabilities that you have. And as long as you're putting in 100% effort and doing the very best that you can, and looking at all the angles of your preparation, getting enough sleep, hydrating well, mental training, physical training, you're doing all of the areas that go into performing at the highest levels of sport. If you're doing that, you are great in my eyes. Okay, if you're just doing, you know, if you're wanting to be average, again, it doesn't take that much work. If you're training 2 days a week when you could really be putting in 4 to 5 days a week of training, or 6 days a week of training, or even 7, and you're not putting in 100% effort. It goes back to like Steve Prefontaine. He said, to give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift. That was his exact quote. And that makes so much sense. So they're good for a reason. The Kenyans are good for a reason. They're putting in consistent work over several years, and they're nonstop about it. And a lot of times in their culture, running, it's like in Japan as well. The Japanese culture is very disciplined. And not to say here in the United States of America, Americans aren't disciplined, or people in your country, wherever you are in the world, aren't disciplined. But if you're going to be great like the Kenyans, you have to have that white hot, zeroed in focus. You have to have that drive. So don't minimize training whatsoever. Don't just put in physical training. The Kenyans are very strong mentally as well. I've learned from them the importance of mental preparation and seeing yourself doing what you want to do well before it happens, speaking it into existence. You know, I've been around some world-class Kenyans as well, and all I can say is it's just their consistency and drive and strong mental tenacity. Those are some of the traits that they have, and they're good for a reason. That's the reason why they're good. Again, they do have physiological talent that can't be denied, but so do other people around the world. And we all, if you have the ability to go out and run a marathon, you have some form of talent, because there are some people out there that just, you know, they have a hard time running that far, no matter how hard they train. So don't minimize and don't second guess yourself if you're not getting the results that you want just yet. Stay consistent. Study the Kenyans. Study how they think. There are plenty of videos, or plenty of documentaries and articles written about them. But also look at anybody that's successful, you know, at distance running. You know, I'm not Kenyan. I ran a 2:19 marathon, you know, but I also had several failures, just like the Kenyans as well. Kenyans have had to drop out of races. Kenyans have ran poorly. You know, I've run marathons with Kenyans that had PRs of around 2:15, 2:10, that went out and ran a 2:40 or a 2:50. So they experienced setbacks just like you and I. But they're like I said, they're good because they're consistent. They take the ability that they have, and they put in they put in everything they possibly have in their preparation. So that's my encouragement to you. You may not be a Kenyan, but you can get great results if you're consistent enough. And like I said, go back and watch all the other videos I've made on consistency and focus and mental preparation. And I think those will really help you as well. So if you have any other questions or a topic you'd like me to cover in my next video, definitely leave me a comment in the comment section below. There are resources below all of my videos. I have running courses, online coaching, monthly coaching, training plans as well. If you just want to jump on a consultation call with me and get a work with me on one-on-one on an hour call, you can do that as well. Obviously, when athletes and non-athletes as well reach out to me on my YouTube channel, I always respond back. So definitely, if you have a comment or a question, whether it's positive or negative, I've had it rarely happens, but I've had a few negative comments. I never respond in like kind. So I think it's very important to be professional. There are people that are not going to like what you have to say. You can't please everybody. So, but at the same time, it doesn't mean you have to respond in the same way. So always stay professional. Obviously, there are millions of YouTube channels out there with a lot of great content and places that you can go as well to get more information. So obviously, I'm not the only source, but I definitely appreciate all of you. I wish you all the best in your success and your training, and I will talk to you all in the next video.